All right.
We're finishing the book.
Yeah, we are. Well, we did. Now we're going to talk about it. Okay. Chapter 34.
So I had some for page 296. So during this part is where Feyre is being walked into the court under the mountain. And she's like talking about did I say 296? Yeah. She's talking about like the chandeliers and the statues or the like little pillars that are in there appear as there are countless stories of Prithian were just etched onto them. I kind of wonder if like Amarantha did that, or if that's always been there. Like has the court always been there? Or did she just choose that place because it was simple? No one was there. It was easy.
Interesting.
So yeah, I was always wondering, like, did she decorate it herself?
I, on page 296, was like, why are the villains always redheads?
You're a redhead. I love it.
And then, I do like she was just average looking, though. She was like, there's nothing spectacular about her.
I really like that because, like, you're always faced with, like, an evil person who's, like, drop dead gorgeous or handsome.
And humanly beautiful.
Right. And it's like, okay, but there's also people out there that are, like, ugly as fuck. And they're mean people.
Right. Just like in Wizard of Oz. Like, the good witches are beautiful and the bad witches are ugly. Hello. Okay. Anyway, I digress.
How dare they do that to
ugly people?
Well, I was going to say that, but I was going to say, like, poor, oh no, I lost it. She's an actress. She played in Wicked.
Idina Menzel.
Yeah, Idina Menzel. Like, poor Idina Menzel. Like, how dare she? She is gorgeous.
Yes, she is. And, like, that voice, like, whoa.
I know. Jealous. Anyways.
And then on page 297, I was like, is that really Tamlin?
Oh, yeah, like, just, like, sitting there chilling.
Yeah, and then it was, but, like, I was like, is it, though?
Right, so at this point, you, like, walk into, you see her at her throne, and you see Tamlin to her, like, left or right, or wherever he is, like, right beside her, and he's just stone.
He's just chilling.
Not moving. Like, I mean, she did say that she felt like he was under a spell because, like, he didn't react as soon as he saw her, and like, good composure. He can't keep his composure, his anger at bay any other time in his fucking life. But God forbid, right here,
protect this person that he loves with big air quotations. he can keep a straight face,
right?
And then, like, on page 297, also, Feyre's just bold as fuck. She's like, I've come to claim the one I love, and I'm like, what? But also, like, dang, like, you come into this
ballsy
evil person's court that you know, like, his.
And everyone's gonna fucking kill you. Like, you cannot stand a chance against every one of these. Especially after the Ator, like, hurled you in here.
I'm saying.
I wrote some on 299. She is being all self-righteous again. And,
we might have wrote down the same thing.
Yeah. She's like, even with her self-righteousness and, like, Tamlin allowing, she probably would have been killed anyways if she didn't agree to, like, Amarantha's thing. Like, even if she didn't say that she was there to claim him, like, no matter what, she probably, the ending would have been the same.
Right. So, like, first of all, they tortured Claire Better. Claire Better comes back in the story.
Poor girl.
And Tamlin just let that happen to protect Feyre.
I know, and it's like...
And then Feyre's just cool with that.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. I feel like if he didn't say... Or, like, if he didn't, like, say her name, and he'd be like, I don't know who that person is, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not who the person was. No one knows the name.
Right.
And even, like, Rezan knows who that is, even knows her name, anything like that. But he didn't, well, actually, I don't know if he knows her name.
But he knew that that wasn't her.
Right. And so I feel like even if Claire could have been saved, maybe not. Probably not. But at least, like, that wouldn't have been involved.
Right. It was just psycho. And then, like, on page 299, Feyre was like, I won't let Claire have died in vain.
Self-righteousness, right there.
I think that ship has sailed.
Like, she died.
You're in a cave full of fairies. What you gonna do?
Right.
Like, and she was tortured because you just flippantly gave her name. Like, I understand you don't want to give your name to a fairy, but then make up a fake name.
Right.
Don't give them some real person's name. Like
John Smith is the most common name ever.
Right.
I mean, maybe not nowadays, but it was. So use a common name.
Be like Amy Jenkins. Like, I don't know, something random.
You have random ass names. Like Feyre is apparently Elven, or not Elven, but like Old Irish, like word for fairy. And even Amarantha was like, oh, that's such a pretty name. Like, that's from our old dialects. And it's like, any name could have fucking worked. Whatever. Anyways.
So then my next thing is on page 301.
I had some on 300.
Okay.
So at this point, Tamlin, annoying, is like, I don't even know who that person is. I've never seen her a day in my life. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to protect her, but now it's just pissing me off.
Right. Like, at this point, I think that ship has failed. She's here.
She physically walked her ass in here and claimed her love for you. You can't sit there and say that anymore. Like, it's apparent.
Well, and like, not only that, but she's here. So if she's not the right, like, the person that you love or whatever, they're going to kill her even quicker. Like,
oh, okay, well, we're not going to torture her. She doesn't mean anything to you. Like, whatever.
Right.
We're going to have fun.
They're just going to get rid of her, like, quickly. I don't know. And then on page 301, she's like, oh, maybe Amarantha took his memories. Or maybe he's trying to protect you. You two noble idiots deserve each other.
You two Gryffindors.
I'm pretty sure I wrote that down on multiple pages in here because I was like, what the fuck? And then I definitely wrote that if Feyre, like later, if Feyre was a Ravenclaw, this story would have ended a lot sooner, but we'll get to that. That's in a couple chapters.
Right.
And then on page 301 also, in my Hermione voice, I said, what an idiot. I don't remember why I said it, but I literally wrote Hermione voice, what an idiot.
There's a lot of parts in that. Like, I want her curse broken too, or I
think just that she's making the bargain with Amarantha. Like, what?
Alice said no.
Right.
Alice is queen. Do not do that. Yeah.
All you have to do is answer one question. Say the answer and he's yours. I won't even need to lift my finger. He'll be free.
Instantaneously.
Oh my gosh. And then on page 303, she agrees, and then they beat the shit out of her, and she's like surprised by that. Like, what? These evil fairies are going to beat the shit out of you when you, like, why are you surprised right now? I just don't understand. It's just,
I wrote something about that too. I was like, I wrote it for like page 304 for like chapter 35, but I basically was like, I wonder how long they beat her. Like, does she just bruise easily, or was it a long time? Because you know what? First rule of kickboxing, always cover your face. One right here at your cheek, your powerful one up in front, like, you cover your face because that's a moneymaker.
Because, duh.
That's just frustrating. Anyways, so for page 306, I said, I've not been in a physical altercation to where my face has been hit, anything like that. I take that back. I had a really dangerous job of working with children with extreme behaviors, so I've been kicked to the face. So scratch what I just said. But anyway, I feel like the number one rule in anything and everything is to fix your nose once it's broken. And she like didn't even bother trying or attempting to do so. Like, I get it, your eyes are everything, you have no idea which way, but if you feel it, you can feel
how you, like, yeah, your nose
like feels. Oh, my nose is way to the left. That is not how it's supposed to be. Let me pop it back in. Like, you said your nose is broken. Like, pop it back in.
And I don't care. Everything painful hurts less if you do it yourself. So, like, Lucian coming in to do it and to help heal her, like, when he does it, it hurts worse than if she had just done it herself.
Right. Yeah.
Because stuff like that always does. Also, Feyre and Tamlin do not deserve Lucian.
No, he's such a...
like, I don't...
He's such a sweetheart.
He is, and they both suck. And...
Use him.
Yeah, and just, I feel like he puts himself in so much danger through this whole next few chapters we're going to talk about.
Yeah, one for her, because of a promise he made to Tamlin, and it's like Tamlin can get off his ass.
Right.
I don't know.
Neither of them deserve Lucian.
I feel like Amarantha would probably not necessarily made it harder, but I feel like she's doing this to Feyre because to get a rise, like continually to try to get a rise out of Tamlin. And I think the moment she would get a rise, like I think she'd cut back a bit. I mean, maybe.
But even then, like, ugh.
Yeah. Anyways, my next one was page 310.
Mine was I have something on 307 and 309. So on 307, it's interesting to me that that Amarantha would give them even just a tiny bit of power back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's interesting to me because she knows that they all hate her. Like, that's not news to her. I don't know if
at least it's news to her later on in the few chapters. Right.
Like, I just don't know if she just thought that, like, maybe that would endear them to her. I don't know. She's crazy. And then on page 309, I put, she's crazy. Like, but this time I'm talking about Feyre. Like, she's still talking about, like, if I escape, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Do you think in a cave, like a network of caves under the mountain, that with fairies that know these caves, you're going to be able to get out of your cell, get Tamlin, and then somehow find your way out before you get caught?
Right. And Lucian even says that, like, Tamlin's every move is being watched. And it's like, how the hell are you going to get him out of here? You can't.
She can't. She's just a stubborn, noble Gryffindor who's got to get her friend and get out.
Listen, if she was a Slytherin, she would have figured this. This is what I think. Rhysand is a Slytherin. I'm going to break it off right now. I think Rhysand's a Slytherin because he is just much, like, he's more sly about it. Like, he knows.
Right.
Same with Lucian. I think he is too.
And
they're a little bit more cunning.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
than their peers.
I can't even.
What do you got for 309?
Oh, that was 309.
Oh, that was okay.
That she is crazy, and did she really think they could escape? My next thing is on 311.
So 310. Oh, okay. So at this point, we're talking about what is it? We're talking about we find out Jurian, a character named Jurian,
yes.
which we've talked about recently as being the noble fighter for the humans back 500 years ago. Well, during that whole escapade with Jurian and Amarantha, apparently he, did not win because his bony finger is wrapped around her neck and his eyeball is enchanted within a ring. And it's alive. Like, he can see everything.
Right. His soul is there
actively watching.
Yeah.
I don't know why I immediately went to this, but you know how Rhys is considered Amarantha's whore?
Oh no.
Maybe she's into some kinky stuff because that ring sees all, and I wonder if she wears it during all their escapades.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that.
Like,
but
he knows all the
weird
shit
good
she's
question.
into.
Oh no.
I don't know why that popped up in my head, but it's like, ooh. Okay, listen, if I had to watch people die nonstop, I'd probably get more traumatized by watching someone's, like, sex life for the next 500 years. That would freak me out.
Right.
Like, I would probably get desensitized to the other thing, but, like, watching somebody in their sex, like, nonstop, I'd like, ugh.
Especially someone who probably disgusts you. Like,
oh, yeah. Like, you purposely slept with her sister and then murdered her in the most brutal way possible. Like, I'd be absolutely gone in the brain.
Oh, my gosh.
Anyways.
Yeah.
I had something else for 310. I would have died at this point because I would have snorted. Part. Oh, Rhysand, the little ass kisser. Although he has a good point why he did it. Anyways, where'd it go? Oh, he's saying, like, well, I don't know who that is. Like, all humans all look alike. And Amarantha gave him a saccharine. Is how you say it? Saccharine?
I think.
Smile. And what about fairies? Rhysand bowed again, so smooth it looked like a dance. Among a sea of mundane faces, yours is a work of art.
For real, though. I probably would have been like...
Before I even, like, looked at the next line, I, like, snorted so loud. I was like, yeah. And apparently your face was described as mundane.
Right. They were like, she's just average looking.
Right. Anyways, it's like, had I not been straddling the life between life and death, I might have snorted. No,
I would have.
She
probably
like,
because I was straddling the line
I'd be
between
like,
life and death.
Here I am. Take my pig snort and all.
Oh, anyways, my God.
Yeah, I definitely would have died in that moment. If if that happened. Listen, sometimes I can't control. I can't control it. It just happens. Anyways.
So yeah, okay. So my next thing is on page 311, and it's when Amarantha is torturing Lucian to find out Feyre's name. Like, just tell her your fucking name. Yeah. At this point, like, you're under the mountain. They have you. You can't get away. Just tell her your fucking name.
Right? And it's not like you're going to say your family name. Like, there could be
right.
a ton of Feyres. I mean, probably not. But, like, a ton of Feyres out there.
Well, and, like, regardless, if he is in Lucian's brain, like, he already knows your name. And I realize he's trying to protect her. But, like, at a certain point, he's going to have to give that information up. So just tell her your fucking name.
Right.
It just irritates me. She knows you're not Claire Better. Like,
yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and then when she was like, Feyre, testing it. Testing my name. The taste of the two syllables on her tongue. An old name from our earlier dialects. Well, Feyre. It's like, can you be any more salty?
Right.
Feyre is in front of you.
Oh my gosh.
So at this next point, so on page 313, we learn of the riddle.
Love.
So, excuse me.
That's the answer. I knew it. I wrote it down. I said love. The answer is love.
I hate you so much because it took me so long.
Ravenclaw. If Feyre was a Ravenclaw, she would have heard this riddle and be like, love. The answer is love. Love.
Listen. Anyways, let me read it out loud for those who have not read this book. It says, there are those who seek a lifetime but never we meet, and those I kiss but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. At large my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill I do it slow. I shit you not. I was going through all... I hate you so much. It's
literally in my notes. I read it and I was like, love. And then I was like,
learn the answer till like the very end.
I was like, that's gotta be it. And then I was like, no, that's too easy. That's too obvious.
I love how she said the next. She goes, the answer's really lovely, and it's like, there's the answer. It was right in front of your face.
She
I still didn't get it. I like Googled it. I was like, what the fuck is this answer? And of course, Google didn't have my back. And I was going over it and I was asking Will, my boyfriend, and I was like, who is this? Like, what is this? And he's like, I have no idea. And like, he didn't care that much. And I was like foaming at the mouth trying to find the answer. And I was so mad. I couldn't figure it out. I spent forever and I was like, I give up. I'm just going to read the story. Like, I'm spending too much time. I just want to know what happens next. And then when I finally went to the end and she's like, love. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. And I literally read it and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Feyre.
I sat there and I was like, that can't be right. That doesn't make any sense. So then I like found the poem all over again and read it and read it and read it. And I was like, no, it can't be that simple. It cannot be that simple. And I reread it again. I was like, yep. And I was trying to think, I was like, it doesn't work for this line. It doesn't work for this line. And then it really did. And I got really mad because it was so easy.
You know, I read it and I was like, love. Like, I was only like through the first couple lines of it too. And I was like, love. The answer is love. And then I kept reading. I was like, love. It's love. And I think I even referenced it a little bit later. Like, the answer is freaking love. Like, where'd I put it? Oh, yeah. I don't even know. I was dying.
I didn't even think, like, she went straight for, like, typhus or, like, fever or whatever, malaria. And I was like, I'm not thinking diseases. Right. I went back through and I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, what the hell is it? Friendship? Good. I wonder if she would have taken it.
Probably not.
Will you take friendship for 200?
No.
Or a lifelong... oh, shit. To my face.
Yeah, I was so irritated, right? It was like the second to last fucking page that she finally figures it out. And I'm like...
As she's dying.
As she's like... Ugh, I was so irritated.
I got some for 314.
Is that still in chapter 35?
Yeah.
That's the last thing I had for chapter 35 because I was so pissed off.
I was done.
Yeah.
No, so there's this part where she there was like, oh, I spent 2 days in that cell, or at least I figured it was 2 days based on the meal pattern, blah, blah, blah. I ate the decent parts of the half moldy food, and though I hoped for it, Lucian never came to see me. I knew better than to wish for Tamlin. It's like, listen, she wishes for Tamlin. I get it. But let me tell you, Tamlin walks in there, you better be getting my ass out. You better not touch me. You better not do anything. You better fight for my fucking honor and get me out of there. I am risking my neck for you.
Right.
Do not touch me. Get me out of here.
Ugh.
Get me the fuck out.
And if he comes in there and somebody catches them in there together, they're both dead. So, like,
he thinks with his dick. Gryffindors. No offense, Gryffindors. I have nothing against that, but just that character trait of a Gryffindor really pissed me off.
Yeah, one of my best friends was a Gryffindor, but she does charge in with her feelings and emotions sometimes, and I have to reel her back in a little bit.
Let's
Love
think
you,
about
girl.
Let's think of this clearly. Clearly not. Anyways, chapter 36.
Yes. First thing I have is page 319.
I had 318. So at this point, we learn about her first trial. In this trial, you go up against the Middengard worm, gigantic worm with like layers and layers of teeth. So
the visual I had in my head was the worm in Kong, like Escape from Skull Island.
No,
that's what I pictured in my head.
You want to know mine?
What?
The gigantic pink worm from SpongeBob.
Oh my god!
With like a shark mouth, because like layers of teeth.
Kong, the Skull Island, it has like an outer row of teeth, and then the inner row of teeth, and then
like a lamprey kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I went straight for like the shark mouth, but like the SpongeBob worm. So like, listen, if I can think,
I like yours better.
That's all I can think of. But anyways, so we learn about what is it? We learn about I guess the area. So when she walks in, she sees like a labyrinth, and the labyrinth is like made of mud. And what I'm kind of confused on is like there's pits. So are like the pits like deep, like to where they would be like another like level? Like there's 3 levels. There's like the top where everybody's watching, the actual main level, and then like the bottom level, or is it just like a regular pit?
I got the feeling that it was like an underground level, like there were tunnels and stuff underneath it, because like that was like the worm's tunnel.
Yeah, like the living quarters maybe. I don't know. I also was kind of curious because like was the platform like built on the maze, like on the top of it, or was it like floating? Yeah, I don't know. That part I didn't. I just envisioned it like off to the side. But like you're right. Like if it's like this giant open maze, then it would have to be like on top. I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, that's all I had. And then Amarantha was like, she told her to hunt the worm, but then like when she first gets in there, and right, it's like the worm is hunting her. She's like, run, and then and then we find out on page 321. I had something else for 319. Okay. This kind of reminds me of the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets when he's like going with the worm, like going in and out of the tunnels. I mean, at the time you don't realize the worm is blind, right? But like for all she knew, he wasn't blind. Just like Harry knew that the snake wasn't blind, right? Until Fox came in. But anyways, yeah. 321. That's what I said. I said so it can't see or smell. Like yeah, it doesn't know she's there unless it. But like it can smell her, but it can't smell her because she puts all the mud on it or on herself. Yeah. So was the labyrinth there before, or did they like just move the worm in? I feel like the labyrinth was the worm's like, because like you'll find out in like later like seasons, as if this was a TV show, books that like there's a ton of creatures that live in Prithian that are not like obviously native to the human realm. So like it makes you wonder, like, was he always there, or was he like a creature of Hybern that came over with like Amarantha? I don't know. But I do think that like I felt like the labyrinth was the creatures like living quarters, right? Like tunnels, and man, that he like maybe he's been eating good for the last 50 years. Page 324. I have something on page 323. All right, go ahead. She sets a trap. Yes. Smart. Like, I was wondering how long it was going to take for her hunting instincts. Like, she has all these hunting instincts that she used for so long. And I realized she was gone from there for a couple months and she didn't have to do it. But, like,
those instincts don't just go away. So I was wondering how long it was going to take for those to like kick back in.
Right. It's like a fight or
Finally-
flight kind of thing. And she's usually fighting.
Right.
So it should have been second nature. For 324, towards the end, we find out that she is indeed building a trap because he is blind. So it goes, a deep, elegant voice replied this time. She's building a trap, Rhysand. But the Midgard relies on scent to see. Rhysand answered, and I gave a special glow, or whatever.
I think it's flower.
A glare. Essentially gave him a glare. For him, as I glanced at the rim of the trench and found him smiling at me, and Feyre just became invincible. His violet eyes twinkled, and I made an obscene gesture before I broke into a run heading straight for the worm. Listen, that's my love language. I walk by Will all the time just flipping him off, and he's just like, really?
That
love
makes
you.
me happy.
I know. Well, okay, here's the thing. Like, his eyes twinkled. Right when I read that, I was like, homeboy's got a crush. And he's a much better character than Tamlin.
He is growing on me, because I'm starting to understand his why. I still don't like some of the things he did before, because I feel like he was a little unnecessarily cruel, but
I mean, you kind of find out, like, it wasn't even his idea for the head. That was Amarantha.
Yeah.
So there's something where I was like, of course Rhys would be all, she survived, blah, blah, blah. Like, betting against everybody and saying that, like, she's going to win. And I mean, he's smart. He knows. He's well aware of her capabilities.
Right. And he's been in her head.
Yeah. And I also think he's quite ballsy, considering he's not necessarily Amarantha's right-hand man, but, like, Amarantha's for, like, real fucking
right. Close. And, like, I felt like she did impress him too a little bit, like,
oh yeah, with like that idea.
Yeah,
and that might be the whole. His eyes twinkled,
right? And then, like, thank goodness for fucking Lucien.
I know,
if it wasn't for Lucien, even with all of her smarts and all of her instincts,
she wouldn't have seen or heard that coming.
Yeah, she still would have.
Poor guy. Yeah, he didn't deserve that shit that happened to him.
No.
Anyways,
and then on page 327, she says, "My Tamlin," and I'm like, what?
Gross.
I literally wrote, in quotation marks, "my Tamlin," and then I wrote Hurl, because Hurl. Like,
you can just tell on like page 328 how pissed off Amarantha is, because she's like, let's see. Amarantha went on reading the paper as she toyed with Jurian's finger bone at the end of her necklace. Yes, I'd say almost my entire court bet on you dying within the first minute. Some said you last 5. And, as she flipped over the paper, and just one person said you would win.
Yeah, and so at that point, we still don't know that it was Rhysand for sure, and that's on page 328. I wrote, Rhysand bet she would win, didn't he? And then...
oh, yeah, because, yeah.
And then you find out, like, in the first page, or maybe even at the end of that page, you find out that it was him.
Yeah. Anyways, time for our first break, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I found a fan theory that I don't think is quite the theory anymore. It wasn't necessarily, like, written out by the author saying, like, yeah, that is legitimate. This person on Reddit said that at some book signing, it was brought up to Sarah J. Maas, and she agreed. But nothing further has come of it. But the fan theory is that Tamlin and Amarantha are mates. So the idea is that Tamlin rejected the bond and was in denial about it, and it could explain some of Amarantha's extra craziness regarding him, and also another reason why he would have animosity towards Rhys as he's sleeping with her, to put it nicely. Oof. It could also explain why in the end Tamlin couldn't kill Amarantha, but he finally finds Feyre and is desperate for her to be his mate to prove that Amarantha wasn't. It could be an interesting redemption arc to see Tamlin coming to terms with the truth of his mating bond. And then the author of that post goes on to say that it was brought up to Sarah J. Maas, and she just kind of like did her little, yeah, I agree kind of thing. But it hasn't been like,
it's not canon.
Yeah, she hasn't posted about it on any social media or hasn't said anything in any interviews or anything like that. But That is a really good fan theory, because
That
I've always wondered who's Tamlin's mate, and I mean, I've seen crazy people, but like that mating bond apparently makes you do crazy things, especially when somebody denies it. So like,
It's not a bad theory. I like it.
I agree. I think it's a good idea.
I like it.
I'm gonna make it canon. In my head, it is. Anyways,
Okay.
that was the first break. If you need a break, then pause here and come right back. But anyways, on to chapter 37.
Yeah.
So at this point, she hurts her arms.
She's back in her cell.
Yeah, she's back in her cell. She's hurting her arm. She's covered in mud and gross, nasty feces of the worm.
She's getting a fever.
She's dying.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's definitely dying.
And Lucian doesn't come, and Tamlin doesn't come. Nobody's coming to help her.
And she's desperate. So at this point is when like Reese shows up. She like hides her arm. Here, this is what I think it's funny. She hides her arm as if the entire court did not witness. Like that happened when she jumped onto like when she like right before the worm went into the pit onto like the spikes. Like she did that, and when she landed, that's when her arm broke or whatever. It's like you can't. Everyone looked at you like you literally said there is a shaft coming out of your arm and bones are white and you're covered in brown mud. Like everyone's going to see it. You can't hide it. So I just think it was stupid that she tried to hide it from him. Yeah. Because, I mean, he would have seen it.
I was just like, at first she like doesn't trust him and she's like, I can't trust him. And I totally get that. Cause like, why would he expect her to trust him? Because everything that she's seen so far, he's been like super cruel and super evil. And then anyway.
Oh, and during this part too, we learn about he has a bargain for her, and as we know, dear Feyre has really not picked up the correct people for bargaining.
Oh,
and for this bargain, it's Reese says, "I will give you 2 weeks at the Night Court, every month until forever." And you know what? Sign me up. Like, I like the Night Court even before I knew it was a thing or like knew about it. I would absolutely enjoy it. I would love to see what it is. It's the most secretive court of them all. I don't give a shit about any other ones. I don't care. let me go to the secret one. I want to see that one first. Fuck tampon.
And then Feyre, being the like super ballsy person that she is, talks him down to what is it, 5 days?
She's like,
or 1 week?
Yeah, she it was like something 1 week, or it was like 3 days or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, she said 3 days. He was like 12 days. Like they go back and forth. Like they're bartering. Like what?
Honestly, I probably would too. I would be like, well, I'm dying anyways.
Right.
What else do I got to lose?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's like, she's like, just 2 weeks. And he's like, just 2 weeks. He purred a note before me. 2 teensy tiny weeks with me every month. That's all I ask. What are to be the terms? Well, if I told you, there would be no fun in there, would there? And then she's like looking around and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, 5 days. And he goes, you're going to bargain. 10 days. And then he goes, blah, 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 a week. Like, well,
they agree on a week finally. But like, it just feels like he's trying to force her, which later it makes sense why he did this. And like, he was actually doing it with the best intentions, or at least it seems that way. But like, it feels like he's trying to force her to love him now. Like, I don't know. It feels really creepy. And
I know, I kind of felt weird because I was like, well, why do you want to take her all the way to like the Night Court? Like, what's your benefit?
Right.
But that answer will come out in like the third book.
Oh, okay. Well,
it makes so much more sense when you.
The second book is like 6 books long, so it's gonna be a minute to get there.
The third book's longer.
I know. I saw it at the store,
but yeah. Anyways, so she gets a cool ass tattoo, and when you look at it, it's like it's intricate depictions of flowers and curves that
it looks like lace. Throughout. It compares it to lace.
Yeah, it flowed throughout to make up a larger pattern and blah, blah, blah. And actually, I'm not a big fan of flowers, but like the small, intricate, little swirly tattoo kind of idea, I think I could get behind. I dig it.
Yeah.
But then she's like also bitching about it. Like, it's permanent. It's forever. It's like, well, that's a tattoo. So, but honestly, suck it up, Feyre. It was either that or death.
Right. Like,
although here's something though. I think Rhys would have healed her regardless.
I think so too.
I think he would have just been like, this is my chance at freedom. I don't care what you say. Like, I'm going to do it regardless. I'm just going to see what I can get out of it.
Well, and I think he probably felt like he had to do that. So it didn't make it obvious to Amarantha, like, what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
On page 332, he's like, oh, maybe Lucien will come help you. Maybe he won't. And then he's like, between you and me, he's been keeping a low profile after his rather embarrassing outburst at your trial. Because Amarantha, this sick, twisted bitch, made Tamlin whip Lucien
20
times for helping Feyre. Like, what? Like, she just gets like some kind of sick pleasure out of other people's pain, and it really grosses me out.
I know. It's like, where did all of your empathy go? Like, these aren't even
none.
These aren't even humans,
right? And she has none. Like, she supposedly loves Tamlin, but I'm
gonna fuck you up by hurting your best friend,
right? But she makes him.
That's her love language.
Whip his best friend. Like, it's so fucked.
It's a stressful time under the mountain. And I can see why anyone should have PTSD from this crap. Anyways.
Oh, and then page 334. I'm mad at Rhys again. Because what a sick fucking psycho. If you don't give up 2 weeks of your life to me every month, I'm going to twist this bone in your arm and make it hurt.
Oh, yeah. And then she's just like blacking out from the pain.
Ew.
What an asshole.
But again, I feel like he probably did that so Amarantha wouldn't realize that he was trying to help her. Like,
right.
He was trying to do it without giving his cards away or whatever.
And if she would definitely comment on it, because she's made comments like, I can't seem to keep my mouth shut around him. Hint, hint. I think you love him. You just don't realize it. But she is saying like, I can't seem to keep my mouth away from, or a mouth away.
That too.
My mouth shut around him. And it's like, well, yeah, I feel like if someone would have questioned you about that, you'd be like, he twisted my bone. Made me black out and agree.
For real though.
So like I get it. And I also think that maybe he's like protecting her, like trying to get maybe there's something between them that he knows that she doesn't, and he's like trying to get her to, I don't know, hate him because like she's so in love with Tamlin.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyways.
And then on page 335, we'll just fuck Alice's advice then. Let's make another bargain with another fairy.
You got nothing left to lose. You're going to die anyway.
What the hell?
Although, listen, this was a smart move. I don't know if maybe he knew this was going to happen, like the future trials were going to happen or what, but she's damn lucky he gave her that bargain. Anyways.
Well, and then on page 336, right at the end of the chapter, I'm like, I'd be pissed too, but this tattoo sounds awesome. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I had for chapter 37.
Me as well.
On to chapter 38. I didn't have anything until page 340.
338. I was like, dirty water to clean the floor. Rude. Also, Lucien's mama. Like, we meet his mom.
Oh, yeah.
And she comes in and, like, cleans the water and cleans the floor so Feyre doesn't get...
All because she gave his name instead of allowing Lucien to be, I guess, killed.
Right.
Or, like...
destroyed.
Yeah. By Rhysand and his scary powers.
Right.
Man, that is so, like, invasive.
Right. Like, getting in somebody's head like that and, like, being able to destroy their mind.
Yeah. Crazy. So for page 340, so I get like she has to do like all these household chores or whatever, and I kind of wonder if the lentils are just continually magically reappearing just to like.
Yeah, it kind of seemed that way.
I mean, maybe I get it, my eyes get tired, and like as I'm staring at something for too long, I start like not noticing the stuff and I start missing them. So like it could be like a naturally occurring thing, but I just feel like it was nonstop.
Yeah, I don't. And then
yeah.
on page 340, I'm like, why did they put her in Rezan's room? Like, did Amarantha know about the bargain somehow? And like,
either that or they just assumed it was going to be funny. Because I wonder if, I mean, Amarantha just said, like, make her do household chores. And, like, these redskin guards are like, all right, well, we're going to go do this. And Rezan's got some scary-ass powers. Like, he will turn her to ribbons and it'll be great. Like,
right.
something. So, I mean, he's got a reputation in Under the Mountain. And, I mean, he had a reputation prior to all of this. But the fact that his reputation has only grown with him not necessarily siding with Amarantha, but being so close to her.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah. And then on page 341.
Oh, this is my best.
Where she's like, it's a test for you. Like, either Farrah's really brave or really stupid. I kind of think it's both. But she's just like, one of your mistress's household chores, I suppose. And
she, at this point, she's like, I can't seem to keep my mouth shut.
And yeah, she's just like being super sassy with him. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is the guy that had his claws in your brain.
And you could feel the talent on your
right, like, ugh.
So during this part too, she's like yelling at him. He's like, you know very well who I was, and I wasn't Claire better, blah, blah, blah. And then he like sat up and stared at her, and then she realized his comment, like, I was slaughtering on the battlefield before you were even born to Lucian. And I think she was like, oh fuck, what did I say that for?
Right.
And then he goes, Amarantha plays her games and I play mine. It gets rather boring down here day after day. And she goes, she let you out for fire night and you somehow got out to put that head in the garden. And he skipped over the fire night comment to go to the second one and goes, she asked me to put that head in the garden, and as for fire night, he looked me up and down. It's like, that also comes out in a few books. I had my reasons to be out then. And it's like, oh, honey, why you look her up and down? You hiding something. I know you are.
Right? And then what I say next? Oh, and then on page 343, here she is again talking about his eyes or something. Oh, the
twinkle in his eyes or something like that.
His wings. It's his wings. Indeed, it was still Rezan's face, his powerful male body, but flaring out behind him were massive black like wings, like a bat, like the Ators. He tucked them neatly behind him, but the single cloth apex of each peeked over his broad shoulders. Horrific, stunning, the face of 1,000 nightmares and dreams. That again, useless part of me stirred at the sight, the way the candlelight shone through the wings, illuminating the veins, the way it bounced off his talons. So yet again, her like talent and her like visuals of to create this art and all of that, the part of her that appreciates beauty, she's like, that useless part of me, and she's just putting it down again.
That's
and like horrible. And then I said, nothing that brings you joy is useless, because, you know, I was apparently feeling kind of self-righteous when I wrote it.
You Gryffindor.
I'm a Ravenclaw, damn it.
Here's the thing though, I feel like that's just like a normal, I don't know, I feel like that's just society.
Yeah, I definitely, because like, I mean,
I was put down because I liked acting and I liked being creative and dancing, and everyone's like, that's not going to pay the bills.
I feel like we both had that same thing. Like, I wanted to go into music, and I was fine with being a music teacher or something like that, but like, that wasn't something that was realistic to pursue, so I didn't.
Right, and it's like I was in choir, I was in band, I was in dance, like, I took acting, and I looked up at all my teachers because I was like, man, like, you went ahead and went against all odds and did this, and now you're probably not making great money, but you're still here doing this, and like, I absolutely loved it. And then flash forward a few years, like 11 years, and now I'm like struggling with self-identity, because it's like, I want to do acting, I love it, I think it's great, it's like a creative outlet, and then all of a sudden you're fighting with your inner demons from your childhood of saying like, you'll never make it, or you're not going to pay the bills. And it's like, there's a plenty of things I could be doing in the entertainment section that can help me. And like, I never got any support. And so now I'm like fighting and thinking like, oh, I can't be doing that. Like, that's stupid. Why am I thinking like that? And it's like, God, that's horrible. That's like what a lot of people face.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel you, Farrah. I feel you.
Right. Again, nothing that brings you joy is useless. That's my words.
There you go.
True words, Brandy Mowry.
Hashtag. So I had something for page 342. So at this point, they talked about like the High Lords and how like they can all shift. So like they talked about like he has talons for feet and hands, and he has wings and all that. Talon is a beast. So if all the High Lords can change and shift into something, what do you think they all are?
Ooh.
So I had like winter was like a bear, like a polar bear, or like a deer or something like that. Autumn, I only say fox because of the fox mask. Spring, obviously the chimera thing, whatever he is. Night, obviously the falcon. Summer, I put fish. I don't know, fish.
I feel like summer would almost be some kind of like bird.
Oh yeah, you're right. We do visit the summer court at some point in the books. That makes sense. But day and dawn, I have no idea.
Maybe dawn would be a bird, actually.
Like morning doves kind of stuff?
Yeah. Or like,
Day could be squirrel. I don't know.
Squirrel.
Maybe that's where I deserve to live.
Oh my god.
Through all kinds of, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I was curious about that.
This is going to be a long episode.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I just noticed. Well, we're doing multiple breaks. We had 3 breaks planned, and if we need to add in a 4th, we can. So that's okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, my next thing was on page 344.
I had 343 too. Mine was small. I love their banter. I think they're great.
I do enjoy their banter. And I enjoy that he doesn't punish her for...
Right, because she's like, well, what's the answer to the riddle? And he goes, cheating, are you? She never said I can ask for help.
Right.
But after she had you beaten to hell, she ordered us not to help you, blah, blah, blah. It's a good thing she likes me, isn't it? And then she like goes to beg him, and he's like, don't waste your breath. I can't tell you. No one here is. If she ordered us to stop breathing, we could. And because she was digging through the soot and the dirt and all that, he cleaned her. And he goes, a gift for the balls to even ask. And I was like, yes.
Right.
I love it.
Like, he appreciates her.
And she just stares at him like, oh, fucking serious. Anyways, I had some for 344 as well.
Yeah. So, they come back to get her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, she's done. And they're like, what the fuck? Because it was an impossible task. Like, she wasn't supposed to be able to be done. And then he helps her because he tells them not to touch her, to give her no more household chores, no more tasks.
And like, meals.
And to give her, true meals. Like, and I'm just like, at the time, I was like, why does he keep helping her? I did not understand.
Now that Reese is around, I'm starting to notice his like little actions more and more, and like that he shows more attempts at liking her. Instead of like flattering her, like, oh, your hair smells nice, or your hair looks clean. Instead of stupid little comments like that, like he's actually like showing he cares by like showing her worth, or
helping her speak louder than words.
Right.
We've been talking about that a lot this week.
Yeah. And then I just feel like he's showing her more attempts at like truly caring for her, whether or not it's romantic. It's just he's trying more than Tamlin, I feel like, ever did.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. 100%. That is all that I had for chapter 38.
Same.
Why did I think we were still on chapter 37? Nope, we were not. Okay. So chapter 39. This is where it gets good. So I'm like, is the tattoo his way of like keeping an eye on her or protecting her? And then I was like, why is he so interested in her? Now that question was answered is answered in the next few chapters. But like at the time I was like, something is going on here. Like he has an ulterior motive. This is not just him being a creep.
I know. Honestly, when I first read through this, I was like, man, that's creepy. But then like it gets answered and you're like, oh my God. And then you have to go back and reread it all so that you could see like the little bits that you missed. But honestly, there's a, so at this point, like there's like a celebration. I think it's like the solstice. I think it is, because he goes around like happy solstice to everybody within like the few chapters. There is a dress that she's got to wear.
Oh my God.
So that nobody sees the fact that she made a bargain. I mean, he's going to announce it that night at the party, but like to make it look better, she's covered head to toe, painted in the design that's tattooed on her arm. The reason being he doesn't want anyone to touch her. And I'm not gonna lie, I really like that possessiveness. It's not like toxic. It's just like I don't know what to say.
Oh my God.
It's just like,
it's funny because we had opposite reactions to this.
okay, here's the thing. I know they're not dating, but when I go back and reread it, it makes sense to me. But I like it because it's like he's actually trying. He's not being a dick about it. Like, you can't go out and do anything because these guys can do whatever they want to you and I don't trust them. He's just like, I'm going to paint you like this so I know if anyone touches you. Like, I don't know.
Do you want to hear what I wrote?
It's like I don't know. I feel like it's not that toxic, but it's probably sound toxic.
You know what I wrote?
Hold on. But I really want that dress.
Okay, I do dig the dress, and like I could totally see cosplaying in that dress. And,
Yeah.
like, it being
Here,
amazing.
let me just read what it looks like. So it says, they placed on me a gauzy white dress, if you could call it a dress. It was a little more than 2 long shafts of gossamer, just wide enough to cover my breast, pinned at each shoulder with gold brooches. The sections flowed down to a jeweled belt slung low across my hips, where they joined into a single piece of fabric that hung between my legs and to the floor. It barely covered me, and from the cold air on my skin, I knew that most of my backside had been left exposed. So obviously her back is out. Her, like, all the way up to her hips are out. And she's probably not wearing underwear.
Yeah, probably not.
But if it wasn't so, like, see-through, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's wear that. Like, I'll wear that. I'll do it.
Right?
But honestly, I just want to dress up and go to, like, a ball. I just want to, you know, not prom, not stupid crap like that, but, like, I just want to get dressed up. And definitely not Victorian time.
Just dressed up in general.
Yeah. I just want a nice ball gown.
Throw a ball. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I had to say about it, I said page 347. I said, what in the creepy fucking rapey shit does he hate Tamlin that much? This has got to be about Tamlin and not Feyre, right?
Partially, yes. I mean, later on he'll explain that.
Yes.
But oh my God.
But when I first read it, I was like, what the?
I did agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It is a little weird, but I don't know. I just feel like I've never had like somebody, except for now, I've never had somebody that like fought for me. It was always like, well, whatever. If you're going to do it, then I can't trust you. Like, you're cheating, blah, 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 like toxic. And then like the fact that he's fighting for her because he cares, whether you know that now or not. I don't know. I like it.
I can see that. I see where you're coming from. I just like, it makes you feel
wanted
and cared about.
Trauma.
I definitely get that. But also, yeah, I feel like that could come a little bit like, again, Stockholm syndrome-y, like.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, not yet. Hasn't started yet.
And then I was also like, isn't Amarantha going to be mad that he's bringing her to her party? Like,
no.
And then I was like, or is it her idea? I don't know what's happening. And then I called him a creep again on page 351, but I don't remember why. So let me open to that page.
On 349, he says like something to the effect of like, oh, this is where he tells the whole court that they made a bargain. He's like, we made a bargain. Rhysand said. I flinched as he brushed a strand of lock of my hair from my face. He then ran 2 fingers down my cheek, a gentle caress. The throne room was all too quiet as he spoke his next words to Tamlin. 1 week with me at the night court every month in exchange for my healing services after her first task. He raised my left arm to reveal the tattoo, whose ink didn't shine as much as the paint on my body. For the rest of her life, he added casually, but his eyes were now upon Amarantha. And it's like, rest of her life, but sounded like it was going to be a very, very long time. Even she said that. She goes, man, it sounds like it's going to be a long, long time. And I mean, I get it. She's 19. It's probably going to be hella long, but also like,
was this part of his plan all along?
It's like, is she Fae? Does he know she might be Fae? Like all these things.
Yeah. I
like with your original, I think she's a Fae and we don't know it yet. Kind of thing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So when I wrote What a Fucking Creep, it was when she asked what happened, because he had made her drink the wine, and so she like blacked out and didn't remember anything. And then Lucian comes to her cell and she's asking what happened, and he says, I don't think you want to know. And I'm just like, ew.
What happened?
Like, what did he do? Did he just like date rape her? Like, what happened? Like,
right. Man, that's some wine though. 1 drink gets you gone.
Right.
Jeez.
But then they talk about the paint, and like they talk about the fact that like the paint is only smudged at her waist. So like we know he didn't do anything to her, which is, I mean, points for him. And like he explains later why he did that, which makes a lot of sense. But
he also, 353, they talked about, what is it? Well, 1, Lucian's pissed off at her for making this bargain. And he's like, she was like, I was dying. I had a fever. I was in and out of consciousness. And he goes, I would have come. And he literally admitted as he was on his way out, he goes, I wasn't able to come until now. And it's like, it's been what, 3 or 4 days?
I would have been dead by now. Right.
Yeah. Like, fuck you, Lucian.
Right. Like she would have been dead by then. Also, I love Lucian. Like, I love him. He is the character I'm here for. He is why I'm reading still, like, through this whole thing.
I'm just going to see what his backstory is.
I just love him. And later on, like, there's something else that I was like, she's going to break my heart, this fucking bitch. Talking about Sarah J. Maas, not Amarantha.
Yeah. I feel like, also, Lucian talks about how Tamlin is being super quiet, and he's being super quiet because he wants to know what is like happening. Like she's trying to ask all kinds of questions about like why he couldn't come, like what's happening, what am I doing? And he's just like, yada yada yada. Also, like Tamlin's doing this to protect you, because it would hurt. Or she's trying to figure out the worst way to torment you, and I'm honestly kind of curious what that would be.
Right. Ugh.
Also, I have something for 356 if you have something in between.
I had something on 354. Wait, yeah, 354. And it was a quote where she calls herself the harlot of Amarantha's whore. And I was like, I fucking love that.
That's so good.
Hilarious. And then
Excellent one.
355, there's another quote where, who says it? So the quote is, the poor noble beast. And they were talking about Tamlin. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they're talking about Tamlin, about how his father and brothers had slaves and all of that, and that weighs on him. And Reason, I think it's Reason that says it.
He said, no, how could he? Not with the shame of his father and brothers' brutality always weighing on him, the poor noble beast.
Yes.
But perhaps if he'd bothered to learn a thing or two about cruelty, about what means to be a true High Lord, it would have kept the Spring Court from falling. And Fair's like, your court fell too. Like, fuck you.
Right. But like the description, the poor noble beast, like how fucking accurate. Like,
honestly.
The poor thing. He's just so noble. And
Boo-hoo.
like, oh God. And then my next thing's not until 357. So
on 356, Rezan says something and I feel like I like missed something. I don't know. He's like, taunting him is my greatest pleasure, he said with a mock bow. And as for your question, why does any male need a reason to enjoy the presence of a female? She goes, you saved my life, he says, and through your life, I saved Tamlin's. And she goes, why? And he winked, smoothing his blue-black hair. That fair is the real question, isn't it? What did he do by saving her life? How did he save Tamlin's life? Like, did I miss something?
Well, I just think it's because, like, Tamlin, or didn't Amarantha say that she would kill Feyre, and then, Tamlin's going to fight for Feyre. So, like, that's what I thought of it. Like, Tamlin's going to fight her for Feyre, and without his true powers.
So if she died because of her injury from the first trial, he would have lashed out and killed her. Yeah. Or attempted, and then died himself. Okay. I'm done.
And, like, I feel like he felt like he was saving the whole kingdom, or the whole fairy population, because they were all going to be enslaved to Amarantha if Feyre doesn't win this. So, then on page 357, the Ravenclaw in me was like, is Rhys secretly fighting Amarantha? Keep your enemies closer and all that. Like,
yes, that's what I'm getting.
I started to pick up on that.
Yeah. So there's also a section too where, on 358, so we learned that somebody from the summer court was trying to escape, and he was ordered by Amarantha to essentially turn his brain to mush, and he didn't do that. He did a noble deed by saying, like, nope, it was only him and his cowardice. Clearly he peed himself. So she's like, all right, kill him, essentially make him a veggie. And he was like trying really hard not to, but also like trying really hard to like make this as painless as possible. So then she gets pissed off. She goes, I said shatter his mind, not his brain. Because he's like bleeding and all that. And then he's like, apologies, whatever. And then he just turns around and walks away. And then everyone's like yelling at him, cursing and calling him a whore and blah, blah, blah. And then other people were like, good thing you killed him. That was a traitor. And then I'm just like, you know what? He's fucking powerful. He's got to be the most powerful like High Lord there is, because
right, because
he's much more powerful than anybody. Like, that is some power,
right? Because Tamlin has to get close to somebody to fuck them up.
Yeah,
Reason
if he can
be across a room and
he doesn't even pull his hands out of his like
pocket, right? Like he can just be standing there doing nothing. Like, Jesus. Okay. Oh, did you have a break here?
Yeah, I don't have anything else. That was my last thing.
That was my last thing for that chapter too. So this is Women's History Month, right?
Yeah.
March. Yep. Women's History Month, right? So for this break, we're going to leave the realm of Prythian, and we're going to talk about a strong female from history. Her name is Anita Garibaldi. So this girl, right, she was 14, and her mom, she lived in Brazil, and her mom was like pressuring her to get married because, that's when you got married then, which now we would like freak out if somebody was forced to get married at 14. But she gets married, she's got this abusive husband, whatever.
Typical.
Right. And then a Revolutionary War starts. Her husband joins up, and so he's always gone. She meets a man named Giuseppe, who is her boyfriend now. Like they're like having a romantic thing. And
was this like, wait, were they still together? The husband?
Yeah, she's still married, but he's off fighting.
Oh, okay.
So he's not there.
So an affair is happening.
Yeah. So this is an affair, which is,
also typical.
Right. It happens. So Giuseppe is from Italy. He came here to get practice fighting in this Revolutionary War, right? So he could go back to Italy and I know they literally describe it as like getting experience. So whatever.
Okay.
So she is fighting alongside her boyfriend in this Revolutionary War, like stealing cannons, manning cannons, and shooting them off.
Good for her.
She's pregnant.
No.
She's pregnant during all of this, right?
Good for her.
And it's Giuseppe's baby. Like, it's her boyfriend's baby.
Oh, of course it is.
So the Brazilian Revolution is over. They won. They're still like squabbling over like how things are going to look next, you know, like kind of in Hamilton, how they're like squabbling over what's going to happen and how they're going to do things. But Giuseppe and Anita move on. They go to, they move to Uruguay, however you say it.
Uruguay.
That's where they move. And they fought in a revolutionary war there. At this one, she is more staying at home and taking care of the baby, but she's still helping by like making uniforms and doing all that, like that kind of stuff. Has 3 more kids during this time. So now they have 4 kids. And then that revolution is over. They're war heroes, whatever. They're like mythical couple now. They go back to Italy because Giuseppe wants to go back home. That was his like ultimate goal anyway. And they fight in the revolution there. That revolution fails. That revolution fails. And they go on the run, right? They leave their 4 children with Giuseppe's mother, and they're on the run because now they're like these like high power rebels or whatever. She catches malaria.
After all of this,
she catches malaria, finds out she's pregnant with their 5th child. So this just is a badass bitch. Sadly, there's no happy ending for this badass bitch. She ends up dying from malaria at 28 years old.
Oh my God.
7 months pregnant.
Oh my God. What?
In Giuseppe's arms.
Oh.
And she is known as the heroine of 2 worlds. Heroine. Of 2 worlds. Heroine. The heroine. However you say that word. The heroine of 2 worlds.
We're from the Midwest if no one can figure that out. God. We're the Americans everyone warns you about.
Oh no. Listen, I did look up how to pronounce Giuseppe though, because I was pretty sure that's how you said it, but I was like, I'm not gonna mess this up, so I Googled it. But this interesting fact and this interesting like story about this badass babe, it's from this book, Rejected Princesses. If you're watching the YouTube, you can see it, but if not, I'm just gonna read it to you. It's by Jason Parath, who wrote it because he was so inspired by like the awesome women in his life, and he wanted to talk about the people who don't get made into princesses. Like we've got Snow White and Cinderella and all these people that don't get made into or are Disney princesses, but really do they really do anything that impressive? No, they don't.
They sleep or eat.
Yeah. So this is called Tales of History's Boldest Heroines, Hellions, and Heretics, and it's amazing.
Heroines, hellions, or heretics. I love it.
Yes, it's amazing, and it's got like stories from all different cultures. Anyway, there was a plug there. I'm not getting paid by Jason Parath to advertise his book, but it's really good. So
that was amazing. I love that.
Right? Okay.
Nice. Cool.
Anita Garibaldi, check her out. She's cool. Okay.
All right, we're back.
Woof.
Anyways, if you need a break, you can continue on with your break.
Yeah.
If not, we're back to Court of Thorns and Roses. So, chapter 40.
Chapter 40. Ooh-wee.
Now's where it gets all nitty gritty.
Ooh.
So I got something for page 362.
360. Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
On page 360, they like re-talk about the riddle. They talk about the riddle again, and she's like, "Do you have an answer to the riddle?" And Favor's like, "No, I'm a dumb fuck. I don't know the answer to the riddle." And so at this point, I went back to the riddle because I was like, I'm going to feel really stupid if I'm wrong, but isn't it obvious that love is the answer to the riddle? Because like then I went back and reread the riddle because I was like, excuse me. Like I was just I just didn't understand. And then what page did you say you had something on?
362.
Yeah, I also have something on page 362.
So during this part, we see the next whatever it's called, trial.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, that first trial was really good and up to par with her like
evilness.
Yeah. The second one, I'm not saying it was stupid, because I feel like she knew she couldn't read because she kind of taunted that.
I think she did.
She also made a comment, like, she did say she learned about her, and she's like, Riesling tells me you're a huntress. I don't know how she found out that, like, she couldn't read, because I don't even think Riesling at that time didn't know that she couldn't read. So, like, somewhere something happened.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She somehow has figured that out. Like,
like, I wondered if it was Reese, but then, like, he said later on, he goes, an illiterate? But anyways, I mean, even if she didn't know this, I feel like she could have come up with something better.
Yeah, especially, but, like, the whole Lucian being in there, too, thing, like, that's what I wrote on page 362. I wrote Molly Weasley voice, not my Lucian, you bitch. Because I was so pissed. And, like, I feel like it's just continually Lucian. Like, she's like, it's not Tamlin because she likes Tamlin, so she's not going to hurt Tamlin, she's going to hurt Lucian. And through all of this, her big thing is that humans can't truly love fairies. Well, if she can't truly care about Lucian, then why would she care if you put Lucian in there?
Right.
Like, so clearly, like, Amaranth is contradicting herself there.
Yeah.
So unless she was just trying to hurt Tamlin with that, but...
Possible. So during this trial, Lucian is essentially chained to the floor, and there's, like, chandeliers above him. What you find out is that the chandeliers are actually deadly and will smush him.
And they're, like, burning hot.
Yeah, and so it'll be a slow, painful death, and it'll be messy. It won't be quick. Well, during that same part, she's also kind of trapped in, like, a cage, too, where her own version of those chandeliers are coming down on her. And there are 3 levers labeled 1, 2, and 3. And during each one, there's something on them, like words. And of course, she can't read. And whether or not Amarantha knew this beforehand, she is casually trying to figure that out. And she's struggling. She got like the, but, and went, but anything else. Like there was like a part where she was like reading where it's like, where it says 3 grasshoppers were bouncing, and like she struggled through just even those words. And then Lucian's panicking and freaking out, like yelling at her to just pick one. But here's the thing. There's 1 out of 2 chances, or 1 out of 3 chances that she is correct.
Right.
So,
those aren't great odds, in case you don't know.
He knows she can't read. He is well aware of that fact. And for the fact that he's sitting there and like screaming at her to like pick one, it's like you do realize that like there's a great chance she's going to fuck this up. But it's fine because we got Rezandir.
Well, yeah, and then like, so where did that? Oh, she decides she's gonna answer 2, right? She's
yeah, like, because like
2's a lucky number because that was like Tamlin and me, just 2 people.
And then 3's not the answer because 3 is 3 sisters crowded in one bed too much, blah, blah, blah. And then 1 is solitary, Amarantha or the Actor.
Yeah, just gross.
Be the answer.
All the way around. She's like, it's gotta be 2.
It's great logic, but flawed.
I mean, I get where she was coming from and she was in a panic state.
I mean, it worked for her, whether it was true.
But then, like, I wish
we could have read it.
Holy shit. Right. Like, what did it say?
Yeah. Like 2 grasshoppers were bouncing. Like, was it 2 was under 3? And like, what? Like,
right.
I want to know what was said or like what was on there. Like,
right. What was the inscription on the wall?
Because like, I mean, we could have had a section where like Rezan read it to her.
Yeah.
I mean, he can see through it. He probably knows what's on there. He knew the answer. Thank God for that bargain.
Yeah. Well, and like, that's what I said. I said on page 360, what page are we on? 365?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, Rezan is helping her. Like, so he's like not letting her touch the wrong answer.
Yeah. So when she went for 2, she used her left hand, which is also the tattooed arm. It was burning, like hurting her. And she's like, what? So she pulls it back. It's not burning.
And she tries to do it again.
Yeah. And then she goes for the first one and does the exact same thing. But when she went for the third one, no pain whatsoever. And she looked up and she sees Rezan staring at her. And so she's like, I'm going to try this again, and goes for the second one. And then she's like, oh, nope. 3rd. Okay. I guess it's 3. But like, if Rezan knew the answer, I really wish we could have just been like Rezan, like reading it to her.
Right.
Because damn it, I want to know. Sarah J. Moss, will you email us and let us know what you were thinking?
Yes, please.
A quarter witches at Gmail.
I actually already emailed your assistant and asked if you would come on our show, and she was like, "You're really busy, but they'll let us know."
Really?
Yeah, it was basically a no, though. It was a really polite no.
That's fine.
Think so. Yeah, but like you already have our email, so go for it, or your assistant does anyway.
Also, I wonder if Tamlin is cursing not seeing to the reading lessons or even planning on assisting her.
So that's what I said on page 366. I was like, think she's going to learn to read now?
like, listen, you knew about this blight. You might have not been able to tell her, but the way she was acting, she was not leaving. So like you could have at least prepared her.
Right.
And reading could have been a strong suit of hers if you would have given her the opportunity.
Yeah.
Instead of, you can't read. Do you want me to write you a letter to your sisters? You should have said, do you want me to help you? Do you want me to help you read? Bitch.
Ugh.
Anyways.
And then on page 367, or did you have anything before that?
No.
And then I was like, who is Reese? What's his end game? Because I was like, this is all wild. Like, he's just helping her. Anyway, but then on page 367, she's like crying and everything's...
Oh, yeah. And he's like talking her up, like, don't do this. Don't let her see you cry.
Yeah. So everything is and now hollow and dark and empty. I couldn't stop. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't beat her. She won today and she hadn't known it. She'd won. It was only by cheating I'd survived. Tamlin would never be free, blah, blah, blah. My shortcomings had caught up with me. This place would be my tomb. I would never paint again, never see the sun again. The walls were closing in. The ceiling was dropping. I wanted to be crushed. I wanted to be snuffed out. Everything converged, squeezing inward, sucking out air. I couldn't keep myself in my body. The walls were forcing me out of it. I was grasping for my body, but it hurt too much each time I tried to maintain the connection. That's a panic attack. Like, as someone who has panic disorder and has experienced many, many panic attacks, that is what it feels like. So, like,
the fact that he can get her out of that so quick.
Yeah.
Like, kudos. I kind of wonder, too, since they have that bond and he can, like, see or, and, like, she can feel. I wonder if he, like, sent calming auras.
Right. Or if, like, that's why he showed up at that time. Because, like, he could feel that she was freaking out. But, like, yeah, I was reading that and I was like, oh, my God. Like, I've never been able to put it into words quite so eloquently.
Yeah.
But, like, that's a panic attack.
It sucks.
And then he fucking licks her face. Like, I literally wrote, excuse me, sir, what the fuck?
Here's the thing, before even that though, like I'm telling you, not even before that actually, on 368 after that and after she realizes what happens and she like scurries away and she's like, get the hell out of here. And he was like, oh, I figured that would get you to stop crying. She goes, it was disgusting. Beneath all your pride and stubbornness, I could have sworn I detected something that felt differently. Interesting. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Tamlin is beginning to be a thing of the past.
Yes, please. But yeah, like, excuse me, sir. He just licks her face. And like, I say all of that, but there have been multiple times that I've been like sitting on the couch and I'm like looking at Brittany and I'm just like, and licking her. I just lick her face. Like, I've definitely done that. It's a thing. But like,
I guess it works to get you out. I mean, it gets your mind off of whatever you're doing.
Yeah. But if it was like essentially a stranger who had forced me into some kind of bond, like, and he just licked my face while I was in mid panic attack, I might punch you, sir. Like, I'm not panicking anymore because now I'm pissed.
Right. And here's the thing, like, he is such a good guy. He knew she was shattering and like,
yeah,
if it wasn't for him, she would have, been done.
I literally wrote that down. The last sentence, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. Mm-hmm. I think he knew if he pissed her off, her fight would come out and she'd pull it together. Like,
right. Yeah.
Because it took me a long while to realize that Reason, whether he knew it or not, had effectively kept me from shattering completely. I feel like that was his entire purpose.
Yeah.
I think he knew that.
Yes. Anyway, chapter 41.
Yeah, so I have something on page 372.
Mine's 373.
Okay. So there's like this pig sounding person that's talking to, well, first of all, let me go back. So she's with the people that like do her makeup or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, the ones that get her ready for the party.
Yeah, and like they go into this like little alcove in the hallway hiding behind like a thing and
a banner of some sort.
Yeah, and there's some kind of voice talking to the Ator who sounds like a pig. That's what she...
Oh, yeah, like there's like random snorts.
Yeah, that's how she describes him. So they are talking about like the king of Hybern being stronger than Amarantha. Like that's what they're making it sound like.
Because he is technically the leader of them and she was just the strongest general.
Yeah. And like I was just really like, is he smarter? or stronger, or is this pig just dumb? And then she asks these bitches that have been dressing her up for like weeks now.
Does Rezan know?
A question, and they fucking answer her. They have not spoken to her this whole fucking time. Like, and all of a sudden, they answer her. I was like, what the fuck?
My favorite is like, she questioned. She's like, does Rezan know? Does Rezan know? It's like, honey, you got to bond with him. Like, he can send you feelings. Like, he sees things. Like, he knows. He can talk to you through this bond. Of course he can fucking see it. Like, he sees it.
Right.
Why are you asking?
He knows. I was just blindsided. I was just like, what? So they can speak. Like, I assumed that he, like, forbade them to speak or something. And that they couldn't speak to her because
they are servants and spies.
Right. But
gotta be
they can speak.
They can talk.
And like, this is like an important question she's asking. Like, this is like sensitive information that's just happened, and this is when they choose to speak. Really? I only had one more thing wrote down on this entire chapter.
I had a few actually. Oh, I had a couple more. Was that it for you?
I just had one more thing, and it was like, what's with the music? Like the weird random music that's...
Okay, so during this part on page 374, we learn, so she's like, getting very, I don't know, messed up. She's getting messed up. So she's in her cell, and she goes, I sank so far into myself that it took something extraordinary to pull me out again. I was watching the light dance along the damp stones of the ceiling of my cell like moonlight on water when a noise traveled to me down through the stones rippling across the floor. So she starts describing like the music and all that, and then she starts saying like how she's staring up at the starry night sky and a small unimportant thing that blew away in the wind. And then she's talking about like paintings and like flowing through it, and then it's like it's not necessarily like oily paint, it's I don't know, free flowing or something, like how she's describing this. And I'm like, listen, whatever you're using to hallucinate on, like, I need this because I would like to experience this too.
For real.
Like, that is some hallucinogenic drug if I ever did hear.
Yeah.
But I think someone also like sent it to her. I don't know if it was like hallucination, like her brain cracking, or if it was like Rezan. I mean, they have a bond. He attempted to help her from shattering before. So maybe he's like trying to soothe her. And here's the funny thing. She starts talking about like Tamlin's finger was like strumming my body. So during this, you feel like it's Tamlin, right? Sending this music to her somehow. First of all, how can he when there's no bond? But here's something else too. She's describing a place. It says, I let the sounds ravage me, let them lay me flat and run over my body with their drums, up and up, building to a palace in the sky, a hall of alabaster and moonstone, where all that was lovely and kind and fantastic dwelled in peace. I wept and wept so close to that palace. Wept to be so close to that palace. Wept from the need to be there. Everything I wanted was there. The one I loved was there. Tamlin's house is not made of moonstone.
Yeah, it's not.
It is not.
It's not on a mountain.
It is not in the sky. It is not Tamlin's place she is describing. She is describing a far-off place that has yet to be talked about. But it's not Tamlin. She don't love Tamlin.
I didn't catch that, but yeah.
When I was sitting there, I was like, Moonstone? What? That is a palace that has yet to be described. What is that doing here? And I was sitting there, I was like, no, wait a second. That can't be Tamlin's place. So I looked up the description of Tamlin's, and it's not. I mean, it's alabaster walls and like ivy, like rose thorns and ivies growing up the mansion or the whatever, the estate. And I'm like, there is no moonstone.
And they never describe it as a palace. They always describe it as his estate or his mansion.
Yeah.
It's never a palace.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I know what they're talking about, and it's not Tamlin.
I don't know what they're talking about yet, but I have an idea.
Ooh, what is it?
Is it Reason?
Yeah.
Night Court? Yeah. I assumed like it's the way she's describing it is like a dream.
I know. And I think it's so funny because it's like, at this point, when I read that, I was like, yo, that's totally Rezan sending that shit to her. It's definitely not like a hallucination.
Well, and like, again, actions speak louder for words. Subconsciously, she's probably truly feeling that. Like, Rezan came to her and saved her. He's helping her. He's helping her with Tamlin.
And they have a bond. And I think there's a bond deeper. I mean, at this point in the story, there's like no bond except for what is on there. But I think there is a deeper bond that will be talked about later on.
Yeah.
Anyways. That was the last thing I had for chapter 41 because I was
that actually helped a lot because I was super confused because I was like, what the fuck is with the music? I was so like that whole section. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah, because it wasn't Tamlin's music. It was something different.
Yeah.
A different kind of melody. And
I wouldn't have put that together.
And then she's describing Moonstone. And when I heard Moonstone, I was like, Moonstone is only one is essentially in only one place in this entire Prynthian area, and it's in the Night Court. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Now that
and I didn't realize that as I was reading the second and third book because like obviously descriptions of places and all that happen, and I was like, what? Hold on. Excuse me?
Right. So yeah.
Crazy. Anyways.
Interesting.
Chapter 42.
Okay.
This is where I started getting angry.
Yeah, I did too. And then I only had a few things for this chapter though, because like on page 377 was my first thing. And I was like, what the fuck is Tamlin doing? And is this really him? Because this is when he pulls her into the
broom closet of some
yeah,
sort. Yes, this is what pisses me off. I am very pissed off at Tamlin for this. Like, you had her in your hand. Why aren't you trying to get her out? He probably knows the place better than anybody. He obviously he has better hearing. He has better senses. He can sense who's coming around the corner. He can fucking hide like something. He can do it. Why didn't he take her out? Why of all the times I'm going to fuck her instead of I'm going to take her out?
Yeah.
No, take her the fuck away from here.
Well, and then I wasn't sure if that was really him. I was like, is this someone else trying to
like glamoring or something
yeah,
like that?
glamoring themselves to try to like mess her up or something, or to piss Tamlin off.
I mean, and then that's a very good theory.
Again, who comes to the rescue?
Rezan.
Why? To the rescue
because he has that hand. That's the only reason I think he ever. I mean, I don't know if maybe he like was watching her or something like that.
Noticed she was missing,
or in him too.
Yeah,
he's
but like he comes in, he takes the paint off of Tamlin. He makes it look like it was him
because he knows. He's like, you're gonna fuck this up. We're about to get freedom, and you're gonna fuck it up. Yeah. So like,
and again, at the time, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand what his motive was. So I was like, why does he keep fucking helping them? Sorry, I'm like hitting the desk. That probably is coming through really loud.
Yeah, but anyway, Reese was really smart for that. Like, I'm sure he saw that coming, obviously, through the bond, but like, he knew.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, maybe he's Ravenclaw, but he's very smart and cunning about it. So like,
yeah, I feel like he's more ambitious. I feel like he's more Slytherin.
Yeah, he's got great things to live for.
And and then,
protect.
I don't know what your next thing is, but mine is 380.
Mine's 382.
Okay, so on page 380, Amarantha and Tamlin come in to the broom closet and they make it look like Rezan makes it look like he kissed Feyre and makes it look like he was the one that was in there.
I can't help myself.
Right. And like, so then Amarantha's like, oh, look, her unfaithful heart or something like that. Yeah,
like they're all the same.
And like Tamlin looks pissed. Bitch, you were just in here. You just did it. You know what happened. Reese is saving your ass right now. Why do you look pissed that he kissed her?
I know. Like,
he gets on my fucking nerves.
And it's just the fact that like Tamlin's probably like really pissed off. And it's like, bro, there is a great reason for this. Do not get pissed off at her for this.
Right.
She came under this mountain to save you. If she's got to do shit to like keep alive and to help you, let it be. Let it be.
Yeah.
Let it go, as Elsa once said.
Well, and then on page 382, 383, Rezan finally starts to explain some things to Feyre.
Yeah, he starts breaking down because
why he's doing things, why he doesn't why he did the paint.
Right.
Because the paint was really to save his own ass from Tamlin. Because that way Tamlin would know that he never touched her beyond her wrist and waist.
Yes.
That was like him protecting himself from Tamlin, because otherwise Tamlin was going to assume the worst and come fuck up Rhysand, but now he's like protecting himself.
And then he even like, when he comes in, he's just like, you're the only one I could trust right now, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm a fucking, he didn't say that. I'm a High Lord, not her harlot. And he's like, you hate me. Imagine how you'd feel if I made you serve in my bedroom, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'd hate her too. I would, but also like, I get why he did it. I mean, he's got his reasons and why he wants to piss Tamlin off. I completely understand, because he wants to get a rise out of Tamlin.
He wants to make Tamlin angry. So
when the curse is broken, he has the power and the ability to just rip her apart.
Yes.
So I get that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's like, why am I doing this? And she's like, you're a monster. And it's like, true, but I'm also a pragmatist. Working into him, or Tamlin, into a senseless fury. That's what we need.
And then we find out that Tamlin, or Rhysand's father, right? Yeah, killed Tamlin's father and Tamlin's brother. So that is why Tamlin is a High Lord.
And that is also why Rhysand is the target of Amarantha, because he's like, he's a really nice guy, because he tells Tamlin, he goes, for Cauldron's sake, like, I drug you so you don't remember anything. Like, I'm trying to help you. Like, why do you think I only do this? Like, why do you think that? Blah, blah, blah. He goes, he says something about, like, it's the only claim I have to my innocence, the only thing that would make Tamlin think twice before entering into a battle with me that would cause a catastrophic loss of innocent life. It's the only way I can convince him I was on your side. Believe me, I would have liked nothing more than to join you. Wink, wink, hat. But there are bigger things at stake than just taking a human woman to my bed. Oh, yeah, like what? Like my territory, bitch. Like,
right,
he's
like
also stuck underneath here.
Right, my freedom, my people, like.
Right, and it's like, my remaining people enslaved to a tyrant queen who can end their lives with a single word. Surely Tamlin expressed those sentiments to you. And then she's like, disregards that, and she goes, well, why are you a target?
Well, and then on the last page of the chapter, page 385, she is starting to realize that he's not, like, through all of this, she's starting to realize he's not such a dick. Like, she's like, you could have demanded every single week of the year. You didn't need to bargain with me every single week, and I would have said yes. And she said, it wasn't entirely a question, but I needed the answer. A half smile appeared on his sensuous lips, by the way. This is Feyre saying that. I know, he said, and vanished. So it's like, she's essentially realizing that he didn't have to bargain with her.
Yeah.
He could have been like, the rest of your life, you're my slave, but I'll heal you so you can save your boyfriend. Like,
right. So she would have given up forever to Rhys to heal her arm. I think she quite likes the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, same.
I mean, whatever. That's all I have for chapter 42.
Same.
So then chapter 43 and then another break?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Chapter 43. The Hunger Games salute. She's out there. Nobody's cheering. Amarantha's getting kind of pissy. This is the last trial.
So during this one, she's got to stab some fairies.
And Amarantha is getting kind of pissy because nobody is cheering. Nobody's happy.
Because everyone knows, they're like, oh my God, this is the last trial. All she has to do is do this last thing.
And then
she's survived So I think at this point, she's starting to realize, like, fuck, no one likes me.
And then they say,
it's like, no, you're tyrant.
The world rested on my shoulders, Rhys had said, but I didn't think it was worry alone that was spread across their features, talking about the fairies, the audience. She said, I had to swallow hard as a few of them touched their fingers to their lips, then extended their hands to me, a gesture for the fallen, a farewell to the honored dead. Yes, I was like, Hunger Games, like
I can't whistle, but imagine it's a mockingbird.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. And I was like, oh my gosh, but like how powerful that scene would be in a movie or in the Hulu adaptation. Like,
I just got goosebumps.
Right. Like,
that would be so good.
Yes.
Because you can just, like, you would be able to just be in the area and feel the anger coming from her, but then everybody else is like, this is our savior. Like, this is who we do. I kind of wonder if the silence was, I mean, obviously they think that they're so close to freedom. And I wonder if that's going to damn them. I mean, it's going to be kind of a thing. Like, what if they cheered for Amarantha but then all of a sudden, like,
Feyre won.
Yeah, like, and then it's like everyone's like, oh, well, you cheered against me, like, you were a bitch.
Right.
But then what if she lost and she decided not to do this, and Amarantha was like, y'all are getting punished. Like,
right.
Although, if she needs the High Lord's armies,
yeah,
she can't necessarily do that.
That's true.
Well,
and then, so...
Here's the thing, though. Would you be able to... Okay, so, like, there's three different people standing there. And she's got to stab him through the heart with an ash wood dagger.
Which kills fairies.
You're right.
The only thing that can.
Would you be able to do it?
No. I was actually writing that. Like, this section made me sick.
Really?
Like, my stomach hurt. Like, I was so sick. I was like, I said I knew it would be something like this on page 388, but I expected it to be her family or Lucian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I knew it was going to be something like that.
Man, and then, what a twist that would have been.
Right? And then I was like, there's no way she's going to be able to do this. Like, there's no way. She's too noble. She's not going to do it. And then she fucking does it. So, like, she kills the first guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, damn.
And he's begging her.
Yeah, no. That's the one that my stomach hurt. I was like, how?
I feel like if you were begging me not to do it, I probably would start like getting upset.
Yeah. The second one would have been a lot easier. Because she was like a willing sacrifice.
She was like, this is for the greater good. Like, I'm going to say my prayer. I'm going to walk into eternity for that milk and honey. Like, it's going to be great. And yeah. Which also, I feel like milk and honey is from like, I don't know if it's like a common heavenly thing amongst a lot of people, like religion, mythology. Or even it like just like the fairy mythology. But I know it's very common, I think, in like Norse folklore.
Yeah. Well, and just like as she was saying the prayers and she was like nodding at Feyre to just go ahead and do it, I was just like, oh my God, like my heart was breaking, but also like,
that one would have been a lot easier because she like knew what the greater good was for.
Yeah, And then on page 393, I'm like, I'm literally sick. I could never. I guess that's why I'm a Ravenclaw, not a Slytherin. Like, when we first moved into this house, not too long after we moved into this house, we were doing some yard work outside, and there was a mouse. And it was outside, but we didn't want it to get into the house. So we were like, okay, we're going to get a mouse trap, and we're going to get this mouse. So I made Brittany buy sticky traps. But then I realized that, like...
That's horrible.
Right. Like, there's nothing you can do to it. Like, so, like, I felt so bad for this poor mouse that we essentially just starved to death. Like, I was so upset about it. It was just horrible.
Here's the thing. Animals couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. Like, as she's talking about, like, as she stabbed the first guy, she's, like, talking about, like, her first kill in the forest, and it was a rabbit, and how she just feels, like, the blood all over her hands as the rabbit's blood, as she first did. If it was an animal, I couldn't do it. Now, I might be a psychopath for saying this. I'm telling you, I would suffer mentally for this. I really would. But also, like, 3 lives, maybe 2, for... all of Prithian.
Yeah, no.
And a chance to live again. Maybe with her family. I don't, honestly, like, it didn't matter if it was, like, if Tamlin was going to be one of them, but, like, just being able to, like, to be free. Like, I feel like that crave for freedom.
But are you ever really free with that mental weight?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
That's kind of where my head goes. But
I guess, like, I mean, like, she's talked about, like, after that third person, like, turning the knife on her. And I mean, I guess that's always an option.
Talk about that, yeah. And so I was so certain at this point on page 393, after she kills the second one, and she goes to grab the second knife before she even gets the last dagger, they take the hood off. And so it says, I was about to reach for it when the guard removed the hood from the male kneeling before me. I was certain that it was Lucian. Oh, it was certain in my head that it was going to be Lucian. And then it was Tamlin, and I was like shook. Like, I was not ready for that.
Oh, right. Because here's the thing. I forgot this was a thing. I knew Tamlin was going to be the third one. But what I forgot was that Tamlin was already sitting at her side. So I was like, oh, wait a second, what? Because he was still sitting there as the people walked in. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, because she tells him, like, I love you. I know that you don't have to believe me or whatever she says, or you can believe whatever she says to you, but I love you. And so
Deceived by my own senses again.
Yeah. And then she's like, Alice told me to listen.
Use my senses.
Now she finally fucking starts listening to Alice.
You know, when it matters.
And she starts thinking back to all of these things that she had overheard. I did not put that together. And I don't know that I would have in this situation either. Like, she starts going back over, like, where is it at? Oh,
it's $3.95.
Yeah, so he let me overhear them. So, like, Tamlin was purposefully letting her overhear things, and they talked about how Amarantha makes no bargains that are not advantageous to her. So she's not going to make this bargain and have Tamlin actually die.
And here's the thing. I feel like she didn't have to go all the way back to, like, when she first showed up. I feel like she could have just gone back a couple of days to that conversation. Like, Milady does not make bargains that are not advantageous to her. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right.
You're right. She doesn't. And she loves Tamlin or is obsessed with Tamlin. So she's not going to make it to where Tamlin actually dies. And I feel like that alone, you know that she's not going to let Tamlin die.
Right. And I also feel like during this part when there's like a section, I'm kind of bringing that fan theory back that Tamlin and Amarantha are mated. What if Tamlin died? Do you think she would have felt that? Like, do you think she would have felt like a break in the bond or like nothing at the end of that bond? Do you think that maybe with that bond, she like knew more than she let on?
Maybe.
But also, if you reject it, does that change anything? I really would.
That's really interesting. Sarah J. Maas, help us out. Help a girl out.
This is your world. We would like to know.
Right.
How does the mating bond work?
Yes. I'm going to need more information on that mating bond.
Right. But also, like, was his heart turned to stone by Amarantha, like, by the original curse when they first made that? So, like, as a way...
And that was the part of the curse that Alice still couldn't tell her about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had questions about that. I remember I was asking, I was like, what is that? What can she not talk about? Oh my God.
Yeah. So, because she says that, she's like, somewhere in here, she said something about.
Yeah, like it was hurting her soul or whatever to say it. But like, but I guess I didn't think it was that because everybody else was able to talk about it. Even Lucian was able to talk about it. Right? Because the Ator said, like, your heart's made of stone, but it looks like.
They do, but they're not allowed to tell Feyre about it. They're not talking to Feyre. Ator is talking
all right.
to.
This is why I'm not a Ravenclaw.
Tamlin. So he says, for someone with a heart of stone, yours is certainly soft these days. That was
because Feyre wasn't actually
Lucian that said that.
Listening.
Yeah, they didn't
eavesdropping.
Know. Yeah.
Tamlin, I fucking hate you, but you're smart. Ugh.
So yeah, that was Lucian that said that, and then the Ator said, though you have a heart of stone, Tamlin, you certainly keep a host of fear in it. So like, yes, so she knows, and she says, "I love you," and then she stabs him. And where was I at?
396 is when she stabbed.
Oh yeah. And I was like, she's taking a really big risk here though, because like that could just be a turn of phrase, like heart of stone. I feel like that's the thing that we say, like.
Well, and she thought she knew a lot about the fairies, like that they can't tell a lie or anything like that, and then
that turned out
what a lie that was,
case, right? Like so. Crazy. I don't know. We got 3 chapters left here.
Yeah.
So we should do our final break.
Yep.
I think.
So there's more fan theories that we found, and this one had everything to do with the 3 sisters.
You didn't tell me about this one, did you?
No, I didn't.
Ooh.
Okay, so back to Reddit, there are more things, and there are 2 other fan theories that I'm going to use later on because that they go more with the 2nd and 3rd books. Actually, more with the 3rd books, and I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
But for the first one, so the person said the sisters have fae blood in them, which goes along with what your original theory was. Nesta could see past Tamlin's glamour, but Rhys had trouble seeing past Tamlin's glamour over Feyre until he saw her plate. Rhys felt his bond with Feyre before she was fae. That happens at the end of this book. Feyre also heard Andrus kind of in her head before she killed him. She also really didn't take that long to acclimate to Fey life. And Elaine was always optimistic, possibly because she could sense things getting
and really
better.
good at growing things.
Right. Also, this was actually very clever. 3 sisters, 3 mountains, and 3 stars. So the Night Court insignia is 3 mountains and 3 stars. And there's 3 sisters. What?
That's awesome.
I know. I was like, oh, I really like this one. Yeah.
I do too.
So before anything happens in the second and third book, this person believed that they had Fey blood in them, similar to yours, but then like started picking things out of the stories as to why.
Ooh.
There's a thing. Yeah.
I
that
like
was fun.
it. Yeah.
Loved it. So I can't wait to do the other 2. That one's going to be fun too.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. So Emily has to do all of the fan theory stuff because I can't look up fan theories because of spoilers.
Yes.
So
I can look up fan theories up until A Court of Flames. I think that's what it's called.
The newest one?
Yeah.
Isn't that one really short?
No.
Nope. Well,
nope.
What am I thinking of that's really
the
short?
one that's really short is like Starlight. No, not Starlight. Star something. I don't know. A Court of Starlight and Mist? No, not Mist. That's Mist and Fury. There's a really, really small one. Starlight. I'm Googling it. Hold on. Frost and Starlight. That one's the really tiny one.
Okay.
That was
already read that one?
Yeah, it was a good transition book. I didn't think it was needed or necessary, but it was a transition book nonetheless. So whatever. Anyways.
That one probably won't take us very long to look really short.
That is a tiny, tiny book. It's like 200 pages max.
Okay. Well, yeah, this one's like, what, 400 something? Yeah.
416.
Yeah. So now we are on to chapter 44, and we have 3 chapters left.
Yep.
And one of them is a really short chapter. Yeah. So the beginning of chapter 44, I read like the first couple lines, and then I was like, wait a second. And I literally just flipped back to double check the wording that Amarantha used when she set the task. She just said, because I was like, no, she said to kill them. She didn't. She did not say to kill them. She said to stab them in the heart. And she never said that she had to kill them. So I was like,
come on, Feyre. Ravenclaw would have caught that. I didn't catch that. That's good.
Yeah. So like I had to flip back because I was like, wait a second.
And of course, like stabbing them in the heart with an ash wood dagger. Like of course that was going to kill them.
But it wasn't going to kill Tamlin because she figured out the whole heart of stone thing. And I was like, well, shit, if it's not going to kill him, then it doesn't like satisfy the bargain.
Right.
But so I had to go back and like double check the wording because I was like,
here's the thing though. I know Ashwood can kill you or like kill them, but if they would have taken it out, would it have? Because their healing. I mean, she took them out though.
Yeah, she did. That's true.
So like, I feel like the healing would have quickened it, but also is Ashwood to the heart, and it's probably like a gunshot to the heart, like you're screwed, kind of
right?
Thing. Anyway,
kind of thing.
So I had something for $3.99. There's a part where so basically like everyone, she stabbed Tamlin, she followed the rules, she completed all 3 trials. Everybody in the crowd is like yelling at Amarantha to free her, like because she completed the trials like she was supposed to. And now Amarantha's pissed, and she's like, I specified I would free them, but I never said when. It could be for the rest of your life. And it's like, all right, there's the bargain part that you fucked up.
And I was like, well, I don't know. I literally wrote, well, I don't know who didn't see that coming. Who actually thought she'd be fair? Like,
right. Well, even Feyre said that at some point. She goes, there's got to be a loophole in this because she's going to do this or she's going to do that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. She's going to do that. Yep. That's exactly what she did.
Feyre actually specifically said that. She's like, she didn't say that about the trials. She said that about the riddle.
Right. Yeah. So she's actively being tortured and like slammed to the ground incessantly and like getting.
I wrote, this is hard to read.
Yeah. All her bones are breaking. Like you'd hear the crack after crack after crack. Very, very like hard stuff. And all of a sudden she just hears her name being screamed out. And then at this point you're like, oh, it's definitely going to be Tamlin. No, it's Rhysand. Rhysand pops out of nowhere with the dagger. The Ashwood dagger, and then like goes to stab Amarantha, and then he gets slammed up against the wall, but then he tries again and tries again and tries again, and then she is like dying and freaking out, and all of a sudden she just turns over and looks and was like, stop, like, I will do anything. Or Tamlin says that as Rhysand is like passed out because he hit his head or whatever. And then she's like actually wanting Amarantha to stop harming Rhys. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should do that.
That is when she figures out the answer.
Yeah. And then she stopped and she's like, the answer to your riddle is love. And then everyone's like,
right.
And
I literally said about fucking time because like she finally realized it. But you're right. She said something about Tamlin, but she wasn't thinking about Tamlin when she realized it.
No, because she knew Tamlin was going to survive.
Yeah.
She just had to heal faster. But like Rhys is actively getting thrown up against a wall and like hitting his head and getting slammed down. And like, it's not going to go over well.
She said, stop, please. Rhys's arms buckled as he fought to rise and blood dripped from his nose, splattering on the marble. His eyes met mine. And that's when she starts to think about it. And that's when she starts to realize, like, it's not Tamlin. But then she's like, because loving Tamlin was the only thing I had left.
Right.
Because Amarantha is trying to make her say that she doesn't love him.
Right. And like then Tamlin finally pops up and goes, Amarantha, please stop this. Just blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden she's just like, wait. And then I don't know how in the entire world she is actively, all her bones are broken essentially. And she's thinking about this riddle. I don't know how she's thinking clearly to do this. But then all of a sudden she just stops and just says the answer, like love. The answer to your riddle is love. Yeah, and then Tamlin's eyes went wide before something forever cracked in my spine. Dead. And then that's all I had for chapter 44.
Same.
I actually didn't have anything for chapter 45.
Oh god, I do. I was like,
good, because I didn't have anything.
Now the bitch starts begging. Like, Tamlin gets his power back because Feyre answered the riddle and it was supposed to be instantaneous.
Yep.
So Tamlin is glowing gold. Amarantha is backing away from Feyre's body, her corpse, as she describes it. And she says, please. So she's begging. Mm-hmm. I said, oh yeah, now the bitch is begging. Rip her apart.
Do it.
like I am usually
make it brutal.
Like, not killing, but this bitch is fucking twisted.
Like she deserves it.
She should be killed. It's oof. And then on page 405, did Rhys know that would happen? That she would die? And that's why he bound her to him? So he could pull her into him?
I question that because, like, essentially she stayed tethered to him.
Because she's seeing things through his eye.
But also, he doesn't necessarily have, like, he doesn't have, like a prophecy. Like, he doesn't have those skills.
Right.
It's like he can just read people's minds, except for Amarantha's. Because she took that part of his power. So he can do it to anybody but her. So how did she know? And I highly doubt, like, he could do that to the Ator, too.
Probably. But I'm just like, yeah. I was just like, did he know? And then all the, like, High Lords start coming over and dropping little kernels of light, air quotations, that's what they describe them as, onto her body. And I was like, are they bringing her back to life?
I'm not going to lie. I mean, you'll find out later on that, like, the Autumn Court High Lord is kind of a dick. I mean, you've seen his sons leering at Feyre. She was wearing that outfit and like etching ever so close if like Rhysand was going to leave her behind. So like if they're like that, then the High Lord cannot be any better.
No.
And here's the thing. Lucian's mother is a fucking saint. But I just don't get it. Like,
yeah.
First of all, he was the first one out of any of them to give the kernel of light. So that kind of threw me off when I read that. I was like, what? Autumn Light? Or the Autumn High Lord did it?
Feyre saved his son. Like, if he may not like Lucian right now, or he may not like he may have cast Lucian out, or however that went down. Like, but that's still his son. And she...
I'm going to write that down so I can remember to bring that up later on in life.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that was the last thing I had for chapter 45. And then chapter 46 on page 407, which is the first fucking page, I was like, oh fuck, it's going to bring her back as a fairy, isn't it? That's how she becomes a fairy. Holy shit. I was freaking out. And then again on page 407, I was like, I fucking knew it.
She wasn't high fae, but now she is.
Yes. And then,
man, that was I'm not going to lie, that was a good theory that you had. Because I was like, that's actually pretty good.
And then it almost seemed like she was mad at first that she was a fairy now. She said, what should they do? I couldn't move. A high fae immortal. What had they done? And then, like, to me, was like, it was the only way we could save you. And it almost felt like he was making excuses. Like,
to me, though, it kind of made me think, okay, partially, I feel like maybe, like, confusion. Like, how did they do that? But also, like, having to live forever with the fact that you stabbed two innocents.
Yeah.
Killed 2 innocents, I should say. You stabbed 3. Then, like, that I can understand about getting upset. Because, I mean, before she even went to the third person, she was talking about suicide. So I wouldn't be surprised at that point. Like, she was like, all right, I'm dead. Like, leave me be. Don't touch me.
Just let me go.
Yeah, like, I saved everybody. I let them go. Like, I'm good to go with my life. Whatever.
But then she said something about having however many years to get over it.
Oh, yeah, like, maybe for all eternity I will be able to, like, move on or something like that.
Yeah. But then on page 409, talk about sensory overload. She's like, every word, every breath was too loud. Every smell was too strong. The light was too bright.
Oh, God. That would suck.
And she couldn't even touch her hair without the difference in her fingers jarring her. Like, all of her senses were so on high. Like, I get sensory overload just with my regular, normal senses. I can't imagine.
I know. Oh, God. I think about the times where I get sensory overload and I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't. I'm like, why am I the way that I am?
Right? And then I totally get her need for proximity after the trauma. Like, she wants a hug. She wants to, like, cuddle and be touchy. And I get that. Because, like, when something negative or super emotional happens to me, that's how I am too. Not if I'm mad.
I'm the opposite. I don't want to be touched when I'm crying or like in a panic attack. Like, I don't want to be touched. If you touch me, like, I'm going to start crying and hyperventilating more. So, like, I'm actually the opposite.
Yeah.
So 411.
Yeah, that's where I wrote that.
It didn't talk about sex, but it was implied that it was happening. And it pissed me off because I was like, again with the sex. Like, she just went through this traumatic experience. She fucking died, and now she's a high fae. Like, I get it. Sex could be good because of the heightened senses, but, like, calm your shit.
Like a distraction kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I guess that's true.
Like, because the first thing that I always want, like, if something bad happens, is like a hug or like to be held and like pressure. So I get it. Like, that's the one time, like, I was like, okay, Farrah, I see you.
Yeah, so I get that, but also, I don't know, maybe I got like some claustrophobia in my life, because at first I thought I'd like a weighted blanket to like help with anxiety, but then as soon as I put it on, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting suffocated. I can't do it. Like, any tight clothing, I get suffocated. Like, if I'm snuggling at night, there's usually a dog between me and Will, and like there's a cat at my side, and then Will tries to snuggle, and I'm just like,
right.
And it's like nothing. It's gotten worse as I gotten older. Before I didn't care, like, snuggle me up, and like now it's just I can't do it. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is. So
I don't know. That makes sense too, though. Like, I can't at night. Like, I'm like, don't touch me. Like,
maybe I just get hot and I just don't want to be touched. But I mean, even after like my mom passed, I wanted to be close to somebody, but I didn't want them touching me.
So something just clicked in my brain. Like, and this is one of those really interesting, like, epiphany type moments. But I think it's because I'm so hyper independent. Like, that's a term that therapists past have chosen to use and use a lot with me. Like, I have a hyper independence and it causes problems in my life. Like, I don't lean on people. I have to do everything myself.
Same.
And I think that's where that comes from, though, because then when something traumatic happens, I can't hold myself together. So I need someone else to do it for me. But not mentally, not like emotionally. I don't need them to say anything. I just need them to physically hold me together. Maybe that's part of that.
Maybe. Like, you know, I've heard that term, but not in that way. Like, I've heard it described, but not like used that way, like in my past therapy sessions. So like, it's crazy that, like, yeah, that makes sense. I get it. I don't want it.
I don't want it either. You can have it.
But I don't know.
I mean, it makes me a strong person and it makes me able to handle the world on my own. But sometimes you need to let somebody else take the reins. And I'm not good at that.
Don't tell Will that, because he's going to be like, I told you.
Doesn't Will listen to our podcast?
Yeah. He's going to come in there, take his headphones off, and just stare at me like, I told you. I tell you all the time, you need to let it go. You need to lean on me a little bit more. And then I just sit there and like,
All
and
right.
that's on trauma.
Well, you're welcome, Will.
Call me out next time. Anyways.
Okay, page 412.
Yeah.
She's sleeping. They're sleeping and like in the bed.
Something at her belly pulls her.
I was pulled from sleep by something tugging at my middle, a thread deep inside. This bitch can summon her. I was like, what? How annoying would you be if you were sleeping in the middle of the night and all of a sudden you were summoned?
Here's the thing, though. So during this part, something clicks between Reese and what if that is officially coming and it's calling her? Kind of like, remember how like
I just had a theory, and it might be something that you already know, and it might not be. It might not be a thing at all. But are they mated?
Yeah.
That's why he's able to like summon her.
Yeah, but
that's what the pull in her belly is.
That's what. See, here's the thing. So at first I thought it was the bond like that they made the bargain.
That's what I thought too.
But now that she's Fae, it's just like, wait, she's Fae, so like the bond can click into place now. And now I don't know if like bonds can happen between like humans. I think they could, but not to the like full extent, because like bonding is like marriage to them in a way. I know. You're so excited.
Oh my god! I just figured it out.
So the thing that I was actually, that was my next question. What do you think made him freak out at the end? But like you already knew. So my question is back on.
I didn't understand, and like I just put that together right now.
So like it's not the bond that they have through their hand. I wonder if it's the like actual mating bond,
right? Because she says it literally says a thread deep inside.
Never did it ever say anything about like yearning or pulling her or anything like that. I never talked about that. However, oh my god, I'm gonna blow your mind with this. So back on Fire Night, remember when she was like, the drums are pulling me, I feel like I'm out there. But Reason was there.
He was there. Oh my gosh. And I wonder if he was pulled there too, because he never explains why he was there.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Well, and then like on page 414, again, I didn't understand this at this point. Now that I put that together, my mind is freaking blown. But I didn't put it together. On page 414, she's just talking to Reese about like her emotions and her problems. She doesn't talk to Talon about any of that bullshit.
Right.
Like, and not bullshit, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, and I think if she tried, it would have gotten shut down.
Yeah, and he's asking her, like, how does it be to high fae? She's being vulnerable with him.
Yeah.
She was never vulnerable.
And I think it also helps that he was vulnerable with her.
Yeah. And Tamlin and her were never like that. That was never a thing. And then he stumbles.
Yeah. And that's when the bond clicks in.
Yeah, and I was like, what was up with that? Like, I didn't understand, but now I do.
When I first read this, I was like, wait a second. Oh my god. What the fuck was that? Oh my god, was that a bond?
I did not get that till way right now.
So prior to this, I mean, we work together, we talk and all that. So she texted me and I was like, I can't wait to hear what you think about the stumble. And she goes, I think they really summed it up really nicely. Like, I think it could have been one book. Like, it didn't have to be more. And I was like, but what about that stumble though? It was just a thing. Like, whatever. It really summed it up. I'm like, what about that stumble?
It did though. Like at the end of the book, I was like, it feels like they really like Alice and her boys are there. Lucian comes out. It almost like she really like it was a happy ending. End. Yeah. And now though that like rethinking about it and like reanalyzing what I've read, I'm like, oh, holy crap.
Yeah.
That all put it together. Like reading that line again, the deep pull from inside, I'm just like,
I know, because like whenever they had that bargain bond, it like never ever like pulled. There was no pull. There was sensations, like a pain sensation or whatever.
Also, look, my pen was dying. Like my pen literally ran out of ink when I was writing my last sentence about this book, and I thought that was really poetic.
The end. The end of my pen. The end of the book. Oh man. That sent me on a whirlwind of a journey. Oh my gosh, that was exciting. That was and
something.
it gets so much better. Oh my god! Not that this wasn't great. This was fantastic. It was a great book.
But I am very excited to be done with Tamlin. Also, funny story.
Are you done with Tamlin? You're not. You are not done yet.
Okay, well I'm done with him emotionally.
Oh, you're going to be angry.
Oh.
Oh my God. For those who have read the story, they know what happens next. For those, you can buy the book and read along with us. You can buy the book and read and listen to our podcast. Or you can just, come in dry and completely a clean slate of this podcast and watch/hear the anger that is coming.
Oh my God.
And that will come.
I just can't even with Tamlin. But funny story. We have been talking about cosplaying as some of these characters.
Oh yeah.
And trying to
like gender bending them too.
Yeah, gender bend them and trying to talk our partners into cosplaying with us. And I brought
hint, Will.
Yeah. I brought this up to Brittany earlier. We were talking about it. And she was like, that's fine. I'm just not going to be Tamlin. All you guys talk about is shitting on Tamlin.
Little does she know I was picturing that. Because, listen, I think you'd make a badass Amarantha. I mean, the red hair without it, but, just the confidence. I just feel like it's there. Maybe not, the heart of Amarantha, but, the confidence
not evil
of it.
And cruel, but I've got that,
The regalness of it, yeah. Sometimes I'm fucking stupid like Feyre. So I can play that too. But I also, listen, I really want to do an Elaine Lucian, because when I first brought this up to her today, she's like, I want to do Lucian.
I want to be Lucian.
And I was like, oh my God. I got not the hair color of all the sisters, but it's pretty similar. I want to do a Nesta and a Feyre kind of thing. And I want to do an Elaine and Lucian cosplay.
I like Elaine and Lucian, and I like them. Oh gosh, don't make that face. I like them as a pair. So I think they would be a good pair. Anyway, because Lucian's always so doom and gloom and
she's so happy and optimistic.
Yeah, so I
but
feel
listen,
it would be a good pair.
The characters that are coming, I think there would be a better pair.
Okay.
I like the pairing with. I like her better with another person.
Okay.
I don't mind the Elaine Lucian love story interest kind of thing.
Lucian.
I think
I need Lucian to have a happy ending.
I honestly I don't remember. It's a whirlwind of there's so many characters coming up. There's so many there's so much happening. And I think I don't know. There's just a lot. There's just going to be a lot happening in the next 2 books. I mean, specifically in the next book, there's a lot coming.
So for our next episode, we're a little over 2 hours now for this episode. Sorry, guys, but enjoy it anyway. Yeah, break it up as much as you need to. Our next episode, we have decided we are going to cast the characters from this book with actors and actresses.
There's a Hulu thing coming up, so yes. I think that'd be kind of fun to see. And my thing is I actually had actors picked out after the first book, but then after the second book, I started picking different actors. As character developments happened, I found better people.
Yeah,
for
so I think we're going to do this
characters.
after every book, right?
Yeah.
That way we can see how mine change as time goes on.
Yeah, because I mean, mine might be a little bit different now since I've read 4 of the books. Right? 4 of the books? But yeah, 4 of the books. I feel
the newest one that hasn't come out yet.
Well, it's
out, but it's not.
I haven't read it yet. I just feel with the character developments of all the characters so far, I've changed my people. So I'm going to try to go back in time when I first read this story, and I'm going to try to figure it out.
So I just want to read out our list of characters that we are planning to cast. So any of you that are regular listeners, if there's a character we've talked about consistently that I don't read out loud right now, you should let us know. That way we can add it to our list so we can cast them as well. So you'll know what we're thinking.
Yeah, you can message us on Instagram at A Quarter Witches, on our Facebook page, A Quarter Witches. You can even email us at the A Quarter Witches Gmail.
Yeah.
At Gmail.
Yes, absolutely. So we have Feyre, Tamlin, Lucian, Rhysand, Amarantha, Nesta, Elaine, their father, Claire Better, Isaac, the mercenary, and Alice.
Yes.
If there is anyone else that you would like us to cast that we have not mentioned there that I didn't just mention right there, let us know.
I feel like we should do the actor. even though the
Ooh.
actor would be like in a costume.
But like voice wise,
Yeah.
like, attitude wise, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Cool. We're adding an actor. Don't email us that.
Let me add it to the list right now. Get a pen that's not out.
But yeah, so let us know. Also check out our Patreon, same name as everything else,
and there's a link to it on the website.
Yeah,
on the Buzzsprout website, up in the corner, there's a little coin with a heart on it. That is a link to our Patreon.
That will help us pay for more books, pay for better equipment,
start a merch line, maybe.
Yeah, we would love to make stickers, shirts, whatever the case may be for y'all.
Absolutely,
if you would like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.